success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage that continue that counts. So that's one of my favorite quotes from Winston Churchill. And I always think back to this quote every time I go through anything good or anything bad in my life, which is basically every day. For example, when my boss gave me a compliment saying, you're growing really well, you're improving a lot, can't wait to see what happens, in the next coming months. That was an amazing compliment to hear, because when someone acknowledges you, like that, especially coming from someone of like status, your boss, like, I feel great. But I need to remind myself that success is not final. And if I just dwell in this success of sorts and don't actually act on anything, and I just get complacent, then I'm going to eventually fail. Which kind of brings me on to the second point, which is failure is not fatal. I've also had many times where my boss has called me out, like, hey, you're not prepared for this. And this meeting, you could have done much better. There's all these improvements you could have made. And when I hear all these like pieces of feedback, I feel shit. I'll be honest with you. And sometimes I can just dwell on the failure for ages and not do anything, because I'm just thinking about how much of a failure I am. And this quote really speaks to me, because regardless of whether I succeed or fail, I end up paralyzed, not taking any action. And so the end result is that I fail anyways. When in reality, regardless of whether I succeed or regardless of whether I fail, I need to realize that that is not the final picture. That is not the final sentence in this chapter. And so with that in mind, I just need to continue writing and finish the book. Because right now, I'm writing a sentence. I either get good feedback and I just stop because I get complacent, or I get negative feedback and I stop because I feel shit. So always remember that success is not final, but failure is not fatal as well. So always have the courage to continue.